paranormal. It surrounds us. It's everywhere. Tonight, you will hear from the people who live and work within these highly active locations, all in the efforts to discover America's most haunted. With your host, ghost hunter and author, Dan Terry.
Good evening, boys and ghouls. I am Dan Terry, your ghost host with the most haunted. And you know, lately I've been really having a ball going back to my old roots, back to the Midwest. You know, I had groups from Iowa. I've had a couple of groups out of Kansas recently, Missouri. But I'm really happy about this one. You know, several years ago, I met Jason Roberts, who is the main man of Road Trip Paranormal out of Kansas. And man, he's just a really great guy. He invited me down. I got to speak at a conference he had. And man, it was a ball. Then I helped him out with some ghost hunts, some really neat stuff. Hey, check this out. I still got the shirt from the inaugural Midland Ghost whatever hotel. That hotel was really cool too. It was like an old railroad hotel. And even inside, all the rooms had screen doors. I thought that was just so cool. But at any rate, we did that. And then after I spoke at his conference, I got to meet up with him again when he did the Oz Museum and the Columbia Theater. Guys, I had some of the most amazing adventures there. Maybe we'll get into some of it as we're talking, but it was just so cool. He's been a guest here 2 or 3 times, but I'm glad to have him back because he's doing a lot of neat stuff down in Kansas. So let me introduce you all to Jason Roberts, Road Trip Paranormal. Dude, it's been too long.
It's been a long, long time.
Yeah, we got to get together and work together again sometime. Because
I'd love to.
Some of the places you have, man, when you got me to the Oz Museum, that was just incredible. I think we were there twice.
Yeah,
if I remember right. Yeah, and the Columbia Theater.
I love that place,
dude. I had an adventure there that is just incredible. I don't know if I ever told you about it.
No.
I had a guy with me when we were doing the Oz Museum, and he was this great, big, muscular biker dude with the do and, you know, tats and all of that stuff. And he kept asking to use the rods. So sure. And the rods would do things for everyone else, but it wouldn't do nothing for him in the Oz Museum. And he got to the point where he was accusing me of being a fake. Now, we got down to the Columbia Theater. I started communicating with some spirit. I think I even got it on camera, one of my flash drives or something. And the answers to the questions, this guy said, I think I know who that is. Can I use those? And I said, sure. And I handed them to him. And he asked if there was a certain name. I don't remember what it was. He got a yes. And he asked a couple other questions and got positive or negative answers, whatever. I guess they were the right ones. And then he said, is Dad with you? Well, then he started kind of bubbling up and crying.
Wow.
He said, I said, dude, you don't have to speak. You can think the question. They will understand. Just think it. And he thought something, the rods crossed. Next thing I know, I got this guy in a fetal position on the floor of the basement of the museum, crying. And what it was, his best friend just 2 years before had died in a motorcycle accident. And he'd been trying to contact this guy with others for 2 years and couldn't. But I guess it was time. And I've said that to people. The spirits will make contact when they're ready or when you're ready.
Right.
And that's what it was. He was ready and it happened and he just fell apart on me right there on the floor.
Wow.
It was, that place is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So,
love that place. The history alone and all the artifacts that they
yeah,
have from the Columbian Museum to the Oz Museum, the whole town, that whole area right there is just full of awesome things.
and you walked us around to another theater down the street and around a block or two that was also haunted, and I can't remember the name of it.
Oh,
But
oh, yeah, the old Opera House, I believe.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
and I got some pretty good video there of things making noise, EVP or two.
yeah.
It was that was pretty wild. Yeah.
Well, you're lucky. I didn't get a chance to do much in there. I got to kind of tour it, but I didn't get a chance to do much.
Well, when I was in there, I was with the group of people that were ghost hunters. I mean, or wanted to
Yeah,
be, whatever you want to
yeah.
say. And yeah, I can't remember what the EVP was, but it was a little girl's voice answering a question. It was almost a Class A, if not a Class A.
Wow.
So yeah, that place, and they still had all the decorations out from a Halloween spook trip, haunted house, commercial. So the place had a creepy vibe already, but it was pretty wild.
Yeah, I do love that town.
I hope you can get back in there sometime. Then
I
give me a
hope
call.
so.
I'll come back.
I keep trying to go through my all my connections and stuff, and I'm
Yeah,
starting to roll out and trying to do that. It's just been hard for us at home and everything. Just
mhm,
some life things happened and has changed
sure.
our life. So my availability hasn't been the best and everything, but trying to work it out.
Well,
So
I've done a lot in Kansas with uh, Brenda from
yeah, yeah,
Paranormal, whatever it was, Kansas Paranormal Research Society.
right,
I worked with the gal who runs Ghost Tours of Kansas several
right,
times,
absolutely.
and great people. I've worked with a few times. My friend Sam, who come from Missouri down there, he started a group. It didn't last long, but we got into that Wichita Air Museum.
Uh,
We were the first ever in there, which had some amazing adventures. You've been doing Dodge City and
mhm.
what Wamego,
Flamigo, Wilson,
Wilson.
Leavenworth.
Yeah. Hmm.
A
Why
bunch of
is Kansas that way? What Missouri? We've got limestone and a
yeah.
lot of running water under the ground. I'm in North Carolina. We got the mountains. We're in the Allegheny or Appalachians. What is it with Kansas?
I well, maybe it's the center of everything. I don't know. It's the center right there, almost in the center of the United States. There's just a lot of history that hardly anybody knows about. There's so much history just right here in the state that, when I tell stories, like when I used to do the bus tours, I did those for 17 years, kind of got burnt out on those, took a year off, actually taking 2 years off because I'm not doing it this year. I got other things I want to do.
Mhm.
Because it takes up so much time. But when I tell the stories on the buses and all the history, I end up starting to be more of a history guide than I am telling the ghost stories, but
Mhm.
people seem to be drawn to it because they didn't know such and such events happened.
Sure.
And I'm like, I always tell everybody, you can't have the paranormal without the history. You gotta learn that. You gotta know the
Right.
story to blend it. So
What I've always said is without history, it's just a campfire tale.
yeah, exactly.
That's
Exactly.
it. And well, the history of that place, God, just the stuff everyone knows. Wyatt Earp,
Mhm.
not Doc Holliday, but Bat Masterson. Bat
Yeah.
Masterson's brother. I did some stuff with his ghost there at one point
Yeah.
in that museum.
Ed. Ed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ed Masterson. And they
Yeah.
told me what was going on with them and how they discovered it was Ed. That was incredible. And of course, you got General Custer was
Hmm.
there. And man, so much going on. Dodge City, Wichita, they all got big, long histories.
Oh yeah. And in Dodge City, it's always like my home away from home for me. I feel so comfortable being there from the
Mhm.
Depot Theater to Boot Hill Museum. We did the old Dodge Theater, which when we got in there, nobody had been in there in 14 years. and it's where they premiered the 1930s. Forgot exactly what year, but the movie Dodge City. That's when they brought Hollywood there, and all the actors, came in on train, and there was thousands of people in the streets waiting for them to come. And in the background, where the train came in, is the Depot Theater, just sitting there. So it's all of it has so much history to it.
Yeah.
We may be getting back into the Carnegie Arts Center, which we've done before, which is amazing. We did the old Fort Dodge Hospital, which I would love to have you go to that. But I don't know how much more time we got, because it hasn't been open since 1980, and they're about ready to tear it down.
Oh God, what a shame.
Because it's just sitting there. It's just rotting away. But being in there, there's no water, no electricity, full hospital, and there's medical records everywhere. There's stuff everywhere, but all night long we were having things happen inside there that was just mind-blowing. So
now, was that building there back in the old West days when there was shootouts in the streets and all that stuff going on?
No, I want to say it was probably the 50s or 60s when they built it.
Okay.
So it's more modern in that factor, but it just closed in 1980, and they just never touched it. Now people break in, the windows are all boarded up, and then people kick them open and go in. Police have to go in there and get them out. So we did it the right way. We got the paper signed by the government and got in there.
Okay.
So we had to go through the right. Now we got a lead for the Custer House. That's there on the there in Fort Dodge. Because old Fort Dodge, people still live there. There's still a facility that takes care of people there. And now we may have an inn for the Custer House.
Oh, that would be awesome. Now, is that on the base?
Yeah,
there?
It's on the actual property. Yeah.
Okay. But that's not a working military base now, right?
No,
okay.
Not at all. I think it's just like veterans and stuff like that. So it's still connected to the federal government, but so you still have to go through a lot of red tape to get permission. But
now I know you can handle that because that's what you do, the specialty. Tell me some about this hospital. Give us one of your adventures in there.
Oh, geez. So I got some good ones, and I've got some funny ones too. Do you remember Roth?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Keep him in mind. So it was me, Jake, Roth, Dan, and Chris. Chris, who lives in Dodge, and so again, no electricity in the place, no running water, and Renee was there too, Leo's sister, and as we were walking around throughout the night, it was amazing because I always pay attention to the ground and my surroundings and everything like that. What I started to notice is rubber tourniquets just started to appear everywhere along the floors. They just started multiplying. We have no rhyme or reason to it. We were seeing shadow figures here and there. We were hearing footsteps upstairs. But it was when we were using the SLS camera that we actually could get something that was kind of trying to climb the wall at one point. Wow. We always try to like figure out if this is real or not real, because those things can map out anything, and you think it's real, but then it turns out no, it's just a chair or it's something else. But it was there, and you could see like a full figure, and then we were asking, can you wave? And and the figure just starts waving, just kind of waves to us. And we're like, oh, okay. But we were hearing voices. There was at one point we were inside, and a very large shadow like just came and covered the entire we were kind of near a main window there, and it just came and covered the whole window, and then moved on. And then we were looking out the window, and you can see the main street going right through Old Fort Dodge, and there's sidewalks right there. And with our own eyes, we saw a figure that was walking the sidewalk coming toward the building and then just vanished in front of our eyes, just faded as if
Was
it's
it
coming to us.
shadow, a foggy mist shaped, or what was it you saw?
It was like an actual figure. I mean, it looked like a person walking our way.
Full-bodied apparition, then you would say.
And then it just faded right in front of our eyes. So we got all excited about that stuff, but it's hard to, you know, being inside there is, since it's been broken into and a lot of damage to the place. So there's a lot of birds and pigeons in there. And I remember Roth trying to tell Chris, who was brand new on the team, you know, you got to not be loud, do not scream, do not do anything. You know, be calm. You got to be professional when you're doing this and everything. And as he says this, he walks over to this closet in this room, opens it up, and this pigeon just goes flying right into his face. And he screams so loud. And we all just started laughing. I was like, you didn't do so well on that keeping calm part, you know? But
hey, we'd have both done the same thing.
But
that's great.
That place is amazing. Hopefully, I know Dan in our group is looking at trying to get us in there again. I think he's got another lead in there, so hopefully we can fast track that to get in and do some filming inside before they tear it down.
Yeah, I was fortunate to get into the Illinois Asylum for the Incurably Insane just before they tore it down, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, I was there. I can say I was there, so it's pretty cool.
Wow, I hate when they tear it down.
Yeah, well, this building, I could see it was beyond help. Hey, that shadow thing, or that dark black curtain, or whatever you want to say, had you ever encountered one of those before?
Something large like that? Yeah. Not me personally. Well, okay, no, I take that back. Actually, we were at a private home investigation when we walked into this lady's bedroom where she kept saying she would see something. And there's this, I don't know, 10, 12 foot shadow figure that was just like hovering there. I say hovering, it was so huge that it was just hunched over and just there. And the crazy thing is, we could actually see it in the darkness. Plus, it was mapping out on the SLS camera. The REM pod was going off. It was, I mean, things were really happening in that bedroom. So it was crazy.
One of the times I dealt with something like that, I was on a bridge that's extremely haunted. There was an accidental death. There was a murder that took place there. It was really crazy. I walked to the other side of the bridge with two people. There was four on the other side. The shadow comes down between us. We can hear each other, but they cannot see us. We could not see them. We could see the stars above us. We could see the river on either side, but we couldn't see each other.
Wow.
And what is strong enough to do that?
Not a typical human spirit, you know? It's hard.
I was thinking.
You know, I'm not gonna. I never go on the grounds of, oh, it's demonic, but I just say it's definitely not human. Yeah. It's something else. What it is, I don't know.
I don't know. I'd had that happen before, or I think it was after that, but we'd had it happen before in a room in an old mansion. And the guy and I sitting next to each other couldn't see each other, but everyone else could see us. So, but it wasn't, it was just, 2 foot by 6 foot, maybe. This thing had to be 6 or 8 yards across and 15 or 20 yards high. It was an old steel girder bridge. So, yeah, I just wondered if you'd ever had that anywhere else, and you did. So that's a interesting thing we need to find out more about.
I know.
We talked earlier, and I want to tell these folks, and I use this whenever I lecture, but let's talk about that pair of Long John's that you had the what do you call that camera again?
The
what was it?
SLS camera.
SLF.
The
Okay.
SLS.
S.
SLS.
All right. Uh, Now I had talked to the lady who owned that place earlier.
Mm-hmm.
She met me at the jail, and folks, you got to see the jail. It's incredible, the old jail there. And she invited us over to that place. She told us the story. Her husband had, when they got the place, there was a pair of Union Long Johns, the old red kind with the flap in the back, and he sold it to someone, even though she said never sell that. They had all kinds of activity, including her Fabergé eggs kept being moved. So then she made him go out and buy another pair and hang them up. And that's where they were hanging. I'd seen them earlier that day. You brought me into that place. Tell them what happened then.
Well, that whole location always has activity to it. We've had whoever the gentleman is that's down there usually doesn't like us being down there. He wants his peace and quiet, like just get out. Because he's thrown things at us before.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we one of our first time as a group down there chucked a rock at us, and we caught it all on camera, and it startled some of us in there. We've had when I took Jake down there for the very first time with the lights on. I told him, the story of where we were and things got thrown at us, and right then and there, another rock got chucked at us.
Wow.
As if get out of here. And those Long John underwear was still hanging there and everything. So but
well, go
ahead.
No, it's just when we were standing there talking and there was a figure on your SLS camera near it.
Right.
And all of a sudden it got right in front of the Long Johns and started acting like it was trying to put them on. Both sleeves went in, and then you can see his legs move. He was trying to put them on, and they started swinging a little bit. But
and that's the crazy thing, because instead of just mapping out the actual Long Johns, you could actually see it trying to move and get dressed.
Yeah. Yes, and there was nothing there. That did not start moving until afterwards, so it wasn't mapping that moving.
And there's no wind or anything down there, too. There's no
well sealed off basement or cellar. But I remember so distinctly there was nothing that could cause that. It wasn't moving, and yet that ghost or that figure was trying to put them on. And then we went to oh gosh, what do you call those? It's like the fourth one I'd ever done. The hall that was used by the people. I don't know. It's a men's group, I guess. Eastern Stars.
Yeah. You got the Eastern Stars and you got the Masons. Masonic
Hall. Yeah. And I've never found a Masonic Hall yet that ain't haunted. But
we got to backtrack a little bit up in Wamego. The last event I did out there, the Masons actually allowed us into their temple there, and it was fully arranged. I mean, all the seating was there, everything was there, and it particularly did not like any of the women being in there. They kept saying, "Please leave, get out."
Really?
So, yeah.
That was on the EVPs, or was that something you could hear?
Well, it was like straight out of the spirit box. You could hear it saying, "Please leave, get out."
Wow.
So
that's awesome. I am shocked they let you in there.
Me too, to be honest. Because when one of the ladies was like, "Hey, my husband's one of the Masons, and he said you guys can go in tonight," and I'm like, "Are you serious?"
Right.
I was like, "Okay."
I guess that shows that they got some faith in you, man. You got a good reputation down there.
I try to.
I can verify it. I've worked with you several times, and you're top notch, man. Hey, I need to step away for just a few minutes and run a
Okay.
couple of commercials. So I'll be back
Okay.
in about 5 minutes. Hold on.
Okay.
Love we're talking to Jason. He is such a great guy. But seriously, friends, that town and other places is just so amazingly haunted and so incredibly weird. We have so many adventures in that one community, and I'm sure there's more. We just haven't got around to talking to yet. But what can I say? The place is absolutely stunning. And I remember now I did go down to the Oz Theater and the Columbia Theater once with Kansas Paranormal Research Society with my friend Brenda. And then the next time they held it, they had Jason run it, and I got invited back because we'd met. And damn, it's a crazy place. And Jason's a hell of a ghost hunter. We got a lot more stories coming. I do have to show you a couple things here real quick, and we'll be right back.
The new book, How to Research a Haunted House by paranormal investigator Margie Kay and professional researcher Violet Wisdom, is now available from Unex Media. This one-of-a-kind book explains how to do research on a house with uncommon methods and resources used by historic home researchers, and how to determine who may be doing the haunting and why. How to research a haunted house can be used by homeowners, renters, investors, and it should be in the library of all professional paranormal investigators. Get this unique book at unexmedia.com or amazon.com. That's unexmedia.com or amazon.com. The Unex Network presents a health and wellness spiritually based brand of hemp-derived CBD products made by Hopewell Farm in Harrogate, Tennessee. We apply our Cathara energy work with all of our plants and products. Our products made in small batches with only 2 ingredients of pure hemp, full spectrum crude oil, and coconut-derived MCT oil. Third-party lab tested for potency and legal THC levels with 6 strengths of 1 ounce oil to choose from. Know what you're buying and get what you pay for from Hopewell Farm. Applied directly to a specific area, Hopewell Farm topical salve in 1 ounce and ½ ounce sizes, made with pure hemp crude oil, comfrey extract, and all natural ingredients. Find the Hopewell Farm link and coupon code on the Unex Network website at unexnetwork.com. That's unexnetwork.com.
Friends, there's so much going on at the Unex Network. You really need to become a member. You go to the unexnetwork.com, drop down on the front page, and there's some boxes for you to fill in. There is, when you join up, so much stuff, magazines and the blog and all of that. It hits a lot of Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. So there's a lot there to talk about. And I'm sure Jason has plenty of friends down there who's going to want to check that one out. But we have done so much down there. I've done it, and Jason's far more than me, but I've worked with him on a couple of occasions. Jason, what's a good one for Dodge City? It's so historical.
So my favorite is the Depot Theater, which is my question is when are you going to come out to that?
I've got to get out there. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that real soon. But now that I'm out here, I'm close to Gettysburg and West Virginia, the Transatlantic Lunatic Asylum. So much to do out here.
See, I'm envious of that. So,
so anyway, what was your story with Dodge? The Depot
The Depot. Oh,
in Dodge
that
City. Yeah.
yeah, that the Depot Theater. Like you said, it's an old train station from back. Well, it was like the late 1890s, so it was like 1898 when they finished building it. Opened it in 1899. It was an old Harvey house, so Mr. Harvey and the Harvey girls were there to take care of all customers coming in. They had the restaurant, the hotel upstairs. So a lot of great history. It wasn't around at the time of Doc and Bat Masterson and Wyatt, but all that past lingers with it, So
Mhm.
um, with that, our first time going there was 2012, and when we went in, we were always being told of this little girl up on the second floor staircase that leads up to like a third floor kind of landing where there's some office doors up there. Offices now, but at the time it was just like vacant rooms that looked more like an attic. But we were always told that she was always crying or she was sad or she was just always opening and closing doors. So when we were up there our first night, um, I always try to like stay away from the same old questions, tell us where you are, what's your name?
Mhm.
I just went with I'm looking up at there and I'm like, is there anything I can do for you? Can I help you? Please tell me what I can do for you. Can I help you? And I mean, we all heard it with her little southern accent. She goes, no. And then I was excited and I looked up and I saw what looked like a dress rounding the corner up there. And I was just excited. I was like, okay, well, if you don't need me, I'm not going to come up and bother you. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
But since then, we have encountered her all over the place. There's two male spirits down in the basement. Um, there's a little boy spirit who we think possibly is the same male spirit from down in the basement because the way he answers questions is about the same. And then we asked, I said, and we named him. We named him Wyatt, even though he said that's not my name, but I'll go with it. I was
Okay.
like, okay. So I asked, I said, are you Wyatt? Are you the same spirit that's downstairs in the basement as a grown man? And he said, yes. I was like, are you up here to keep Elizabeth company? He goes, yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay. And then we got a picture of him as well.
You sent me that. The one where it looks like he's sitting on a step.
Exactly.
I remember having. I looked for it today, but it's
I'm
lost
sorry.
in the system. But yes, I remember that. And friends, you had. I wish you could see it. It looked like a little kid sitting on the top step.
Hands on the knees and everything.
Yeah.
And but we encounter multiple different spirits. It seems like all the time, especially in the new addition to the depot, which is now the theater section, state of the art dinner theater area with the stage. And they got the works there. But every time we're in there, it seems like somebody different is coming through all the time. And we started doing a lot with the Estes session,
Mhm.
with the headphones, and you got one investigator who's completely blacked out, just has the headphones on, noise canceling, listening to a spirit box so they can't hear anything I'm asking. And then I step away and I just talk at a very normal voice. And I start talking and usually it's Jake who I have with the headphones on. He'll just start saying whatever he hears. He has
Okay.
no clue what I'm asking. He'll start answering. Next thing you know, I'm having a full on conversation with whoever's talking through him to me.
Right.
And some of it is spot on. That just like gives the crowd like they just look at me like, are you kidding me?
Mhm.
Like this last time we were there, we were just there about 3 weeks ago or so.
Right.
And as soon as he gets under with it, I kind of step off the stage a little bit and he goes, oh, it's Jason. And I was like, okay, well, who am I talking to? And he goes, you know who this is. I was like, so we've talked before many times, but Jake can't hear anything I'm asking.
Right.
And toward the end, when I'm off the stage and I'm talking to Jake's wife, and I'm like, should I cut it? He's been up there for quite a while, and it really drains him. I mean, he's
Mhm.
just in full, almost like in a trance up there, just meditating, listening to what he's hearing.
Mhm.
So I said, should I cut it? Should I go up there? And she goes, yeah, it's about time. It's been probably half an hour now. So I go to stand up, and Jake just goes, oh, he's making the walk. He's going to do the walk. He's coming up here. And so I get up on stage, and he goes, oh, he's going to do the touch. And because I always go over to him and just kind of lightly put my hand on him and touch him to kind of wake
Mhm.
him up out of it. And the spirit was just talking the entire time to me. Like it knew exactly where and I stopped, and I was like, are you back here? Or where are you on the stage? And the spirit goes, oh, I'm surprised you haven't seen me yet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so you're back here, aren't you? Because I thought I could hear some movement back here in the back of the stage. And he goes, yeah, me.
Is that Wyatt?
It never gave me a name. I kept asking. I didn't want to push it, but I was like, well, who are you? You got to give me your name so I
Mhm.
know who you are. Um, but the Estes session, every time we go, it doesn't matter what location we go to, even Nest City. Nest City is amazing when we do the Estes session. We've had
Okay.
some extraordinary conversations there. Even speaking about the act of murder.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Um, and basically admitting that something bad did happen inside.
Mhm.
And at the third level of the Nest City Bank building, it used to be a Masonic lodge.
Okay. So
And
that's another Masonic lodge.
yeah, every
Okay.
time we go, up there, the conversations that we get are just mind blowing. To the point where they actually, one gentleman got mad at us for even asking questions about the gentleman that was lynched inside.
Wow.
It was an actual member of the Masons who they needed to take care of, and they strung him up because the previous time before that, he actually spoke, and it was like they strung me up. They found me guilty for something that I didn't do, and I don't know what
Mhm.
I did, but I got in trouble for it, and they hung me.
Well, I
And
know in the old days the Masonic lodge was very harsh on their own people for
right,
betraying their rules, but
right,
wow, just to lynch them,
right.
that's pretty incredible.
Well, and because right before we did that session, Jake had the SLS camera, and it kept saying, and over the spirit box that he was holding, it kept saying, "Up, look up." And as he pointed up, the SLS camera kind of mapped out somebody up on the ceiling, like kind of almost in a
Wow.
dang, yeah. So I was curious about what that was. So when we went into the session, I wanted to find out, okay, was there somebody hurt here?
Mhm.
And it just spiraled from that. So
Damn.
yeah,
Yeah. And again, that's in Kansas. Nobody thinks of Kansas as being this haunted, other than maybe the Sally House. That would be the only one. But I've never been to the Sally House. I was
me
outside
neither.
of it, but
Me
I've never
neither.
been in.
Nope.
But
Now
some of the
Jake
other
has, but no,
places,
yeah.
not wanting to go or just haven't
I,
had
I
the
just
opportunity.
I haven't had the opportunity. I stood outside of it, and I was knocking on the door of the Sally House, but nobody was there to answer. So my wife and I were just like, "All right, let's go." But I got to stand outside. But some people say it is. Some people say it's not. Their history and what they try to make out doesn't quite match up to
Right.
historical facts. So is it just I don't know, people making the most out of it that they can?
Could be. And I understand that too. Just I talked to somebody who had been a guide there and had them on the show, and they were pretty convinced it was haunted, just not the way it's portrayed.
Right.
It's not an evil spirit. It's not a vengeful spirit. It's just a couple of ghosts. So,
Right. Right.
so all right. But anyway, you've done so much down there. What's your favorite place aside from the Dodge Depot?
So one of my favorite places that kind of actually scares me when I go is Oklahoma.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't know if you know, me and the whole team, like everybody, we went out 5 different trips to Tahlequah, Oklahoma,
Okay.
to help. And Tahlequah is it's supposed to be a reservation, so there's a lot of Native American history to it. That's the tail end of the Trail of Tears. Lots of history, pain, sorrow, blood. So we went out there to try to help 2 brothers that grew up on this land, and it's the property that they live on stems back from that time and era, from generation to generation. So I won't get into all that part. We went out there, we experienced possibly something demonic. It was something that pretty much knew who you were before you even spoke. We heard voices in the woods, lights in the woods, children down by the creek when there's no children in the woods.
Wow.
We heard that, you get the audio recording back and you can hear them giggling, laughing, other people speaking that wasn't English. Sounded more like Native American talking. We experienced I won't say possible Sasquatch. We actually experienced Sasquatch.
You saw it.
I saw it with my own eyes.
Okay. Talk about that for a minute.
Every time we went out there, something would get closer and closer to us. So our very first trip out there, 21 degree weather. We're tent camping because there's nowhere for us to go. So we had a campfire and all our tents around it. And as we fell asleep, probably about 3 a.m, something came into our camp after we had already been hearing the growls and kind of the yells and the sounds coming from the tree line. But Jeremiah, who is a mountain man himself from Colorado, he slept out by the fire to keep the fire going because we were all freezing. Well, I passed out. As soon as my head hits the pillow, I'm out. So I missed this portion of it, but everyone else experienced this very large bipedal creature walk into our camp, heavy footsteps, walked right past Jeremiah, went over to Leo's tent. Leo's awake, could see it walking up to him, started pushing down on his tent, went around smacking all the tents and everything, and then goes back. And then we wake up to the sounds of loud screams, all that. And when daylight came, we went out there and in the mud all along the tree line, you could see different sizes of barefoot footprints.
Okay.
And you could see them turning in the mud. It wasn't just a stamp. It wasn't anything like that. You could see how they're moving around. Well, that was just the first visit. Move all the way to the last visit that we were ever there, and we were investigating the house again. We were filming, doing stuff, and we kind of just wait to see if anything comes our way. And I remember, again, all the guys are sitting in chairs around the campfire. We're taking a break. It's probably about, 1 a.m. And I happen to look over at the house that's livable, and it has a pole light next to it. So I just happened to glance over to it, and rounding the corner in broad, all in view of the pole light shining down on it, I see this gigantic 2-legged creature walking our way, and it was huge, massive, and it was coming our direction. So I remember smacking my teammate in the head. I took off running and I ran toward it. I'm just hauling butt as fast as I can. I see the creature actually stop, turn, run to its right, and go down the embankment. And you can just hear it crashing through the bushes and everything as everybody's following me. And they're like, "What in the hell was that?" And I was like, I saw it. I saw it with my own eyes. And then very next night, the rest of them got to see it because right outside the RV that Roth and Leo didn't want to sleep in tents, so they brought an RV. So about 3 in the morning, they got the lights on in the RV, and as they're seeing the two pit bulls running past real quick and yelping, they look out the window. They turn off the dome lights in there, and they look out the windshield, and probably about 20 feet away, this gigantic creature is just like squatting down and running its hands through the wet grass and just watching them.
Mhm.
And so they step out real quick. It already moved into the tree line. So they go trying to run toward it. I come running up. They're like, "Yeah, we just saw it. It was right here." And as we're about ready to go dashing into the woods, like who wouldn't at 3 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
running after some, we hear all this banging coming from behind the house. So we stop and turn, and then it all hits us like there's more than just one. They're trying to get our attention. And yeah, it's crazy out there. But
That must be.
I got an even better story that happened to Jake and I just 2 summers ago.
Shoot.
So got a call from this woman down in Tahlequah that wanted us to come investigate her house. I was kind of, I don't know, I was kind of uneasy about taking the case because it just didn't make sense to me. And she was kind of shady on some of the details, and some of the photographs she sent me was not the greatest, and I could kind of pick them apart. But I always say, if somebody wants our help, we're going to go do it. So we me and Jake drove all the way down there. And the reason why we did is because she kept wanting help, but she also contacted my wife first on Facebook. How she got my wife's information, I have no idea, but somehow she did. Contacted her. My wife's like, "I have no idea who this is, so you do what you want to do, but just be careful." So we went down. We stayed at Jake and I stayed at 10 Killer Lake, which is just right outside of Tahlequah. 10 Killer Lake also has its own cryptid. Had no idea it did. It's the gigantic octopus of Oklahoma. Supposedly there's an octopus that comes in and takes people. So we camped there. The lady flaked on us. So we drove all the way there for nothing. So it was my idea. I said, let's go to the cemetery that we've investigated before, but you haven't. Let's go. So we went to the cemetery that is way off in the woods. You really would have to know where you're going to find it. We get there, and it's still a little daylight. And as we are sitting there talking in the car, before we got out, we were just kind of messing with stuff, and we're kind of filming ourselves. We step out of the car, and as soon as we open the door, like all this loud screaming started happening. At first, it sounded like a lot of birds, like, like a whole flock of crows or something just going nuts. And it was pretty intense for us. And finally, we both looked at each other like, recorders, let's grab a recorder. We need to record this. But what changed was it was coming from our left. The cemetery is off to our right. Woods are off to our left, and right in front of us, more woods. So the chatter of crows or birds, whatever it was, started changing where you could almost make out like actual talking. Like whoever's in front of us is talking and communicating with the group over here. And they're just pretending to be birds. That's the best way I can just explain it. And finally, it died off. Probably about 20 minutes of that finally died off. We set up some gear out there in the cemetery and we're just gathering stuff around. And we spend the night out there just kind of seeing what we can have, any fun out there. It was a great night. Nothing truly happened, but it was a very peaceful, had no clouds. The moon was shining, could see everything in the cemetery. It was great. But in the past, the cemetery has had a lot of crazy things happen. But that night, nothing. So the
Okay.
following night, we go back out there to see if we can get anything to happen again with those loud sounds. We pull up about the same time. It was late at night, the same sky, no clouds, same moon. But we look at the cemetery. It is so dark in the cemetery. We couldn't even see most of the headstones. Like the night before, could see them perfectly.
Okay.
We're thinking, okay, this is weird. So we got our video cameras out. We're recording the whole time. And when we were, neither one of us, Jake is not afraid of anything. He's our own Sasquatch. He's the one with the, he looks like a biker or a rock and roll guy. He's tough. He's not scared of much. He didn't even want to walk through the gate to go out there. He's like, I just don't trust it. So I was just remembering how quiet it was. And then I made the comment, and it's on audio with the camera. I said, you can't even hear a dog bark out here. I mean, there's no dog barking. I mentioned a dog. I said, you don't even hear a dog barking out here. It's so quiet. As soon as I said that, off to the far right corner of the cemetery, a dog starts barking like nonstop. I mean, just in the cemetery. Now, along the dirt road, there's no houses. The only houses there are abandoned and falling in. There's no neighbors. There's nothing out there. So we're listening to this dog, and I'm not really feeling it too good. I'm like, I just have a bad feeling about it because in the past, there's been the talk of possible skinwalker or shapeshifter or even something darker, which I've never encountered before. But here we are. We're listening to this dog. And as we're recording and talking, Jacob mentions again, he's like, listen to the dog. That's not a dog. That's something pretending to be a dog. And you could hear the barking, and it just kept like getting weirder as if it's being forced as a bark. And I was just like, so what's our game plan? Are we running? Are we getting away from here? What are we going to do? And he goes, no, just a little bit longer and everything. So I can't remember if he hollered out to it or not, but pretty soon, as we're kind of getting tired of not knowing what's going to happen here, because this dog just sounded so weird, we hear what sounds like immediate silence from the dog, but sounds like somebody grabbing a hold of the fence and jumping over. So something is like hopped over and is coming our way. That's when we both decided, nope, we're out. So we both run back to the car. When we get into the car, you have to do like a little U-turn in the car to get back to where we were, go around some trees and stuff. I really expected something to be standing right in front of us, something right out of a horror movie. And the tensions were all up. So nothing was there. I went down the dirt road. As I turned right out of the long dirt road onto the other dirt road, I stopped. I rolled down my window and I said, Jake, where's the dog? Where's the dog? We're right here where it should be.
Right.
Where is it? Where is this dog? And he's like, I don't know. I don't know what, So we're pretty silent all the way back to camp. And by the time we get to camp, it's pretty late into the morning. I mean, it's probably like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. We get back to our campsite, and we're pretty much by ourselves out there. And we get to the picnic table. He goes, I want to listen to the audio. So we open up my camcorder. We're listening. He goes, I want to hear when you say dog, because I want to hear if the dog starts barking when you did. So sure enough, It starts barking right when I said it. And he's like, this is crazy. And then as we're sitting there, he turns around and he goes, it's a freaking dog. And I stood up and I looked behind me. There is a dog standing right behind us in kind of like a crouching mode, but it was the weirdest looking dog. It was like half shepherd, half something else, but it was like leaned down and it was in a crouching mode. It turns around making no sound whatsoever. It runs into the open field that's right behind us, passes 2 trees, and disappears in front of our eyes.
Wow. It followed you.
We gave chase. We chased after it. There's no dog out there. We even drove around in everyone's campgrounds to see if anybody had a dog like that. Nothing. So I have no idea. I have no idea.
Well, I'm just about out of time. Do you have anything set up for the Halloween season that people can get involved in?
If you go to the Boot Hill Museum website soon, they're going to be announcing some events for every Saturday on out there in October. So it would be pretty fun to go out to explore the actual haunted side of Boot Hill Museum, something they've always claimed never was real. But now, since we've been around with them, they're open up to it. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Whatever they were claiming, that's not what they told me years before I met you when I was there. They told me about Ed Masterson and the coffee cup. So
right.
All right.
They've told me that since, but for years they were like, "Oh no, this is historical. We don't really want to get into it." And I'm like, "Okay." And they had us out there, and we did 2 or 3 events.
Yeah.
But now, so this October, Boot Hill Museum going to be doing some events out there, and eventually, I am working on trying to do a Paracon in Dodge City. I would love it if you'd come out and do some speaking.
Let me know enough in advance. I'll make it. I would love to go back to Dodge City.
It'll be next year, so I promise. All right.
Well, Jason, thanks for coming on. I love when you're here because we could talk for hours this way.
Yeah.
But all right. Hey, take care of yourself. I hope things get back to normal so you can get back out there on the front lines.
We're working on it.
All right. Take care of yourself, bud. Hang loose. I'll talk to you here in a minute.
Okay.
I have so much fun talking to him because he is like that too, just the same as me. When you hear something, you see something, you go towards it, not away from it. I've worked with several groups who would try to run away when something surprised them. And it's like, just can't do that. Hey guys, I'm just about out of time. Do want to remind you to join up with the Onyx Network. We've got the Onyx magazines. As you can see, those come to you every month or 2 months. I think it's about 2 months now. And but it's email. It's shipped to your email for free if you're a member. This one, I actually wrote some stuff about haunted dolls in. This magazine, the last story ever for the Devil's Diner, the old Diamonds, Tri-County Truck Stop. It was on Route 66. I ghost hunted that thing so many times. So crazy in there. There was something really inhuman in that place from time to time. But I do want to tell you, all that comes free with the blog and all of that. So think about joining up. I want to thank Jason for being on because I just love talking with him. And as far as you folks, hey, Halloween's almost here. It's coming fast. So I want you guys to enjoy it. And remember, always, the most important thing is to stay spooked. Good night.